followers. Myself and Rusty are not two of them. So the other thing that catches my eye, Sony has begun its relaunch of its doomed PlayStation Network, and apparently they're already starting to roll out the updates for the PS3s that people can download now, but you still can't log on to the network, which is going to be announced in the next couple of days. I think yesterday on the show, whilst me and Roy were discussing a plethora of other subjects, I mentioned that my view is still a few weeks off. There's been unconfirmed reports, or certainly unconfirmed from my point of view, that developers have been put back onto the PlayStation Network, but still the access has been intermittent, so that doesn't bode well for the common gamer who's waiting to get back onto the network. I don't know, Rusty, if you had any comments to add to that?
Not really. I don't think they're doomed. I think they're going to have about a year's worth of, you can trust us again, but come Christmas, I'm sure people will be buying PlayStation.
You see, the reason why I use the word doomed is because Sony was on a little bit of a roll. The PlayStation Move technology had won an award over the Kinect last year. I can't remember which show. I think it was a computer entertainment show last year. They certainly won an award over the Kinect. And according to global sales figures that I was reading, that there was about 2 million more units of PS3s that are being sold than Xbox, and that was for the last 2 years. So Sony was on a bit of a roll, and my take on the whole handling of this hack and what was released to the public, and especially in light of how vigorously Sony pursued Mr. Hotz, it seems that weeks later we're still no further forward in getting back onto the network, and people have even. Looking at Twitter and the trending topics, it even appears that people have stopped moaning so much now. So whether that's a sign of them holding their hands up and giving up, or whether it's a sign of just complete apathy, I don't know. But I think
I would vote for apathy. It says basically, we've heard this story. Tell me when something changes.
I believe trending topics is not a very good thing to go by, because they have certain restrictions and rules and things. I'm not sure how they do that, but after a few days, if your topic is one of the topics, it will expire. So even if people carry on using the same tags and the same complaints, it won't be getting the same visibility. When there were the protests in Egypt several months back, people were changing the tags every day and trying to put the date, something like Egypt January 25. And that's the reason they could get into trending topics day after day. So if you go by I think you mentioned trending tags, is it called?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. It's, there are some rules there, so you shouldn't go by,
Well, if I could just throw another one in quickly, because I quite like this idea of just scanning down my RSS feed while we're in mid-discussion, as if it was predicting exactly what Rusty just said, or something Rusty said about 5 minutes ago. I've seen an article in Linux Today, and it's entitled "Bye Bye Skype: Top 3 Replacements." So moving back to the Skype topic very briefly, it appears that what Rusty was commenting on about the Linux community mentioning replacements already. There's articles about it now, and I'll put this one in the show notes because I haven't read it, but just to read a brief summary at the beginning. Skype has always been a proprietary, so those who prefer to use only open source have relied upon free alternatives. Now with Microsoft's purchase of Skype, Linux users are already predicting the end for them and looking for alternatives as well. I would hope I look at it slightly different to that, but yes, Rusty, that's I think sums up really pretty much what you said a few minutes ago.
I think they're creating a self-fulfilling prophecy, basically, but yeah.
Well, I believe, let's face it, the number of people you'd actually speak to on a normal basis and things like telephony or at least internet telephony is, I don't think many people would speak to more than 10 people. Maybe some people have more people on the list, but on a weekly basis, the number of people that would speak to is very small. So all you have to do is ensure those small, the small neighborhood of people is able to download something like CleanPhone or Mumble, whatever that's available that's cross-platform, which shouldn't be too hard. I like I said before, I installed a zip client for my dad, which was very easy because he's using Linux, and it shouldn't be too hard to get these things working. And now there is a reason to do so, especially for most Linux users. There is more of a reason to persuade other people to move to zip.
But see, you're getting on a point there. Most of the alternatives that are making that list are Linux only, and I consider those an automatic fail. I'll give LinPhone half a point just because it is Windows, Mac, and Linux, so you can talk to other people.
Well, you don't have to use the same program on all platforms. I was using it with I believe Tim was using a LinPhone and I was using something else. I was using a Tiga at the time, and it worked just fine. And even we tried it a moment ago, not a moment, actually about half an hour ago, and we actually did a recording using that. So it's not as bad as you think. I mean, as long as I have my favorite.
No, and like you're saying, SIP is an open protocol. Although something, I think, if a push is really going to be made for that, I think every SIP program should be including some kind of free echo or test program. SIP.
Yeah.
Because I mean, if you Google for those, you can find them. But I have yet to find an app that has one loaded by default. So the average user is like, do I have it set up right? Like, how do I test it?
Yeah, that's one of the things about LinPhone. It's got echo detection and removal, things like that. I suppose you can always use headphones or something in some circumstances, but yeah. Anyway, let's try to get Gordon back on the line. I suppose in the meantime, what we could do is just play a song, basically. So the first song we're going to play is called Quanto Tempo. I suppose that's like in Portuguese or in Spanish or something like that. So we'll be back hopefully with Gordon on the line.
Quanto tempo dura sua fé? Com bolso rasgado, sem chão nem telhado, sem garfo e colher. Quantos dias vive um amor? Um barco virado, sem remo nem vela, vai contra a maré. Quantas noites você vai virar pra encontrar a meia-lua? Quanta estrela você vai contar pra saber qual é a sua? Quantos passos você tem que dar, gastando sapato, andando de carro, sem samba no pé? Quantos dias sem um cafuné suporta um homem debaixo de um teto com sua mulher? Quantos doces você vai comer pra voltar a ser criança? Quantos quilos você quer perder pra gostar dessa balança? Quantas marés de aquário podem chegar ao mar? Quantas asas você vai cortar para então renascer e aprender a voar? O vento é que vai soprar. Quantas asas você vai cortar para então renascer e aprender a voar? O vento é que vai soprar. O vento é que vai soprar. O vento é que vai soprar.
Right, thanks for staying with us, and thanks, Roy, for that recommendation. Good news, we've got Gordon back, so we're going to go over to Rustin. He's going to bring up his topic of the day, and hopefully Gordon will get the first dibs at putting his views across as well. So over to you, Rusty, it's all yours.
Well, I actually covered this. I covered this earlier this week, but I haven't published it yet. I don't know if y'all watch Google I/O over there, but it's basically Google's equivalent to Macworld, just all the things they're doing with Android. There's some interesting developments going on there, but the one that struck me as the most weird is that they're rolling out their music beta service, which is basically a cloud music drive that integrates into all Android devices and Chrome and so forth, where you upload your music files to it using an application, and then you can play them anywhere, like a cloud file, and even pin them locally to the device if it's an Android device. So it's useful. It's in beta right now. But what's really interesting about it is they only made this application for Windows and OS X. They deliberately cut Linux out. And that's kind of unprecedented for Google to just go, screw you, Linux. We want to go with proprietary only.
Yeah, are you talking about what's the name of the service, the official name of the service that they introduced?
It's I want to say music beta, but I have to.
Yeah, I think it supports Android, doesn't it?
It's for Android.
Yeah.
What it is on your desktop computer or on your Android device, you upload the music